Did you ever wonder what would happen if instead of Kaigaku, the one who became a demon was Zenitsu? Under what circumstances could this happen? How strong would Zenitsu be? What rank would he have in the 12 Kizuki? Would he be an upper moon? And most importantly, how different would the story be and which people would die as a result of this change? Well, just a small warning, things are about to go down. And well, not everyone will survive this change. Okay, so first things first, in the normal timeline, Kaigaku becomes a demon sometime after the upper moon meeting, probably around the Hashira training. He was faced against Kokushibo during a mission, and after he obviously lost, instead of being killed, he was turned into a demon by Kokushibo's blood, since Kaigaku accepted his offer, thus becoming only the second ever breathing form user to become a demon in Demon Slayer's history. After the defeat of Daki and Gyutaro, Kaigaku went on to assume the position of Upper Moon 6. But now, let's explore an even more exciting what-if scenario. What if you click that subscribe button? Well, in that case, you'll be receiving the best anime content on YouTube. And for us, well, we'll keep aiming for the 300,000 subscribers mark. But let's get back to our video. Instead of Kaigaku, the one who turned into a demon now is Zenitsu. Here we assume that instead of Kokushibo finding a victim that he will turn into a demon, Zenitsu is instead turned into a demon way earlier in Asakusa by Muzan. Instead of that nameless guy, the guy turned into a demon is Zenitsu. Also, when it comes to Kaigaku, we'll simply assume that he was neither killed nor turned into a demon by Kokushibo. But how would Zenitsu be turned into a demon, you might ask? You see, in the original timeline, Zenitsu and Inosuke were not present during the Asakusa mini-arc. Tanjiro smelled Muzan and had the first encounter with him. Muzan, trying to retain his secret identity, blended in with people and escaped, but not before encountering this drunk guy that, well, he was kind of asking for trouble, to be honest. Muzan killed him and turned the person next to him into a demon as well. Or rather, he tried to. This girl, however, was too weak, so just some blood from Muzan was enough to kill her instead. Here we assume not only that Inosuke and Zenitsu tag along with Tanjiro and Asakusa, we also assume that after Muzan tried to use the crowd in order to escape, he then stumbled across Zenitsu. And what did he do? Muzan puts Zenitsu in a corner and tells him he wants him to become a demon, otherwise he will kill him. In the original timeline, Zenitsu would never accept this. His entire sense of self depends on his desperate clinging to his humanity and the bonds he shares with others. Remember when he found out that Kaigaku was turned into a demon, and because of that, Jigoro committed senpoku? Yeah, Zenitsu was locked in after that. That's how bad he thinks of Kaigaku that accepted his offer. Not only that, but he also worships Nezuko, admires Tanjiro as a brother, and he owes his entire strength to the legacy of his master, Jigoro Kuwajima. Becoming a demon would spit on all of that. I mean, Zenitsu is a coward, but even in the face of Muzan, he would still not accept becoming a demon. But for the purposes of this video, there are two things we could assume that would make this plotline viable. Either Zenitsu accepts Muzan's offer, or simply put, we assume that Muzan forcefully injected Zenitsu with some of his blood. Same thing Muzan did on two separate occasions, with this random girl in Asakusa arc that, well, she just exploded from Muzan's blood. And the second case, where he did exactly that with Tanjiro in the final arc. Tanjiro also wanted to reject Muzan's blood, but nonetheless was turned into a demon. Given Zenitsu's strength now, he does not die like the girl from the original timeline, but instead turns into a powerful demon. This confusion creates the perfect opportunity for Muzan to flee. Zenitsu is left behind and encounters Tanjiro and Inosuke that are utterly shocked at what they see. For a split second, Tanjiro just stands there frozen, eyes wide, mouth trembling. He simply cannot believe it. Then the horror turns to anger, not at Zenitsu, but at Muzan. Tanjiro would feel the same helpless rage he felt when he saw Nezuko bloodied and turned, but worse, because this time he knows exactly what it means. Muzan did it! Inosuke now, well, his first reaction is to scream at Zenitsu like he's any other demon. Blades up, instincts kick in. He needs to fight, but as soon as he really sees Zenitsu in this demon, he hesitates, freezes, and doesn't know what to do. But, well, Zenitsu does not give him much time to think. He attacks them on the spot. Zenitsu versus Tanjiro and Inosuke round 1 begins. You see, yeah, Tanjiro and Inosuke hold back because they cannot really harm their friend. But on the other side, Zenitsu has just been turned into a demon, and as we know, this makes the demon incredibly weak at first. The group fights for a while before Zenitsu decides that he needs to eat someone in order to acquire his real demon strength. He uses this thunder breathing in combination with his new enhanced physical capabilities that he acquires after his demon transformation, and he manages to flee. I mean, remember while using thunder breathing, Zenitsu is literally among the fastest characters in this series. Add in his demon transformation? Yeah, he's more than capable of escaping, even in this weaker state that he is right now. Before fully running, he stands on top of a building, he stares down at Tanjiro and Inosuke and tells them, "I'll be back soon once I regain my strength." Inosuke and Tanjiro start screaming at him to stay, but it's too late. Zenitsu has already flown away. The word is spreading that Zenitsu became a demon, so naturally, Jigoro commits senpuku just like he did in the original timeline. Meanwhile, Zenitsu starts eating humans and keeps getting stronger and stronger. He even develops his own blood demon art. And what ability is this? He forces himself to sleep, and while being fast asleep, he becomes incredibly more powerful. His regeneration is off the charts. He becomes even faster, and I mean exponentially fast, to the point where you can hardly keep up with your eyes. And of course, he has no ounce of doubt in his heart. He is not scared, he's not afraid, he's simply just ruthless. For starters, he did not display any blood demon art because he was too weak, but well, after he ate more and more humans and kept getting stronger and stronger, his blood demon art developed. And well, let's just say that Muzan is more than happy with this newest asset. After all, he displays exceptional talent. Even though not on par with Kokushibo, he still sees him as something similar. And we all know how Muzan saw Kokushibo. Whereas he saw every demon in his ranks as inferior, he saw Kokushibo as something like a partner in crime. Zenitsu had the potential to become something like that. But now on Team Tanjiro, how differently would the plot develop? You see, in the original timeline, Zenitsu's first important contribution is when he used his sleep mode for the first time and killed the tongue demon. Here, Zenitsu was not present during this incident. Well, the tongue demon was not the strongest anyway, so we'll just assume that Tanjiro and Inosuke will manage just fine even without Zenitsu. The real problem, however, starts in the next important moment of Zenitsu, his sleep mode against the spider demon family. You see, during this fight, Zenitsu went into sleep mode and managed to assist, or even save Inosuke, that, well, was clearly outmatched. Since Zenitsu is not present here, Inosuke does not last long enough until Tomioka's help arrives. Thus, even though the Demon Slayers managed to defeat Rui's family, this does not happen without a casualty, Inosuke. And well, let's just say the absence of both Inosuke and Zenitsu will have domino effects in the next arcs of the show as well. And you'll see what I mean by that in a little bit. For example, during the Mugen Train arc, if Tanjiro is the only one to assist Rengoku, well, things will not turn out all that well, right? So here, we'll assume that Genya tags along. When Enmu starts his attack, similar to the original story, Tanjiro goes after Enmu. Rengoku and Nezuko stay behind, protecting the people of the train. But here, two people are missing. Inosuke was helping Tanjiro, and Zenitsu was helping Rengoku. Here, let's say that Genya helps Tanjiro and Rengoku is left behind. What will that mean? Well, not only Rengoku cannot protect everyone on his own with Nezuko, as let's not forget, Zenitsu's speed was vital here when protecting the people of the train. Tanjiro would normally die here because Inosuke was the one who saved Tanjiro in the original story from beheading himself. You see, Inosuke was immune to Enmu's forced sleep paralysis, and thus helped Tanjiro snap out of his. But well, let's give Tanjiro a bit of plot armor here, since he is the protagonist, and we'll assume that he manages to kill Enmu without dying. But on the downside, many people do die due to Zenitsu's absence, meaning that after Rengoku's fight with Akaza, Rengoku dies disgraced because he failed his goals. People died in his presence. Even though he did save an insane amount of people, there's only so much he can do to protect tens or even hundreds of people at the same time. Akaza versus Rengoku is pretty much the same. Rengoku fights bravely, but ends up being killed by Akaza that also manages to escape just moments before the sunrise. But similar to the original plot, the Demon Slayer story keeps going, and the next arc we need to see is the Entertainment District arc. Here, Team Tanjiro comprises of Nezuko, Genya, and Tengen and his wives. Team Tanjiro fights against Daki and Gyutaro, and as the fight reaches its climax, Nezuko uses her awakened form, and Tanjiro develops his own mark in order to even out the fight a little bit. Genya is also an important addition to the team, but still, without Inosuke and Zenitsu, Team Tanjiro cannot defeat the demon siblings. The fight keeps going for a while, and Tengen keeps getting more and more injured. They manage to hold off until Obanai arrives, and once that happens, with his help, they finally manage to defeat the Upper Moon duo. For the first time in over 100 years, an Upper Moon is defeated, but not without sacrifices again. Just like in the final fight against Muzan, where the Demon Slayers kept going until Muzan was defeated, the same thing happened here with Tengen. He kept going until the Upper Moon duo was defeated, but once the fight was over, Tengen is injured beyond recovery. Tengen was so heavily injured that Nezuko burning him up a bit had little effect. Tengen dies and becomes the second Hashira casualty in the story. Still, the next stop up, we need to talk about is, of course, the Swordsmith Village arc. Here, the demons sent are Gyoko that will be fighting Muichiro, all the same. But the second one this time around, instead of Hantengu, it's Zenitsu. As we explained, he displayed impressive growth and potential, so much that Zenitsu now received additional blood from Muzan and became an Upper Moon 6 after Daki and Gyutaro's death. The goal given to him is to kill Tanjiro. If he does, Zenitsu will receive even more blood from Muzan as a reward. The fact that Muzan willingly hands out his blood to him shows just how much he thinks of him and the trust he places on him. And honestly, for once, Muzan does the smart thing. Zenitsu is an absolute beast now. So the arc begins, and Zenitsu fights off against Mitsuri, Genya, Nezuko, and Tanjiro. No one dies here, since the Demon Slayers outnumber Zenitsu 4-1. And even though Zenitsu is indeed unimaginably faster than them, they still manage to somehow survive long enough until the sun rises. But at the same time, the Demon Slayers cannot really kill Zenitsu either. The fight keeps going until Zenitsu has to flee, because the morning is almost here. While he flees in the forest, Nezuko is exposed to sunlight, but doesn't die. Zenitsu sees that, and Muzan is notified of just that fact. Just like in the original timeline, Muzan is overjoyed and decides that he needs to make his move now. He's going after Nezuko in order to consume her and thus conquer the sun. When it comes to battle dynamics ahead of the final battle, when compared to the original story, the demons now have both Zenitsu and Hantengu alive on their side, while the Demon Slayers lack Inosuke and Zenitsu. Tengen's death, even though tragic, does not shift the battle dynamics, since Tengen did not take any part of the final battle. Before the final battle begins now, normally Zenitsu here would challenge other demons in a blood battle in order to ascend the ranks. However, Muzan prohibits this until the next operation takes place. No matter the outcome, when a blood battle happens, at least one Upper Moon will die, aka the one who loses. Muzan wants all his forces for the final operation that will begin in a bit. Zenitsu at this point is probably as strong as Upper Moon 4, or maybe even Upper Moon 3. Remember, the combo of breathing form and blood demon art is insanely rare and overpowered. Plus, when it comes to Zenitsu's case, his thunder breathing, when combined with his overpowered blood demon art and regeneration on top of it, becomes almost impossible to fight against. The Demon Slayers prepare for the final battle in the same way they did in the original timeline, through the Hashira training. And just like that, the Infinity Castle arc begins. Here we should probably emphasize on the fact that the Demon Slayer forces are stretched out thinner than in the original story, because two more Upper Moons are present that were not in the original. Hantengu is the one, and Zenitsu, who took the place of Kaigaku, which yeah, he was technically an Upper Moon, but realistically, he was nowhere near that level. So, what battles will we see here? Zenitsu versus Kaigaku was the first battle we need to explain. Not too many things need to be said here. I mean, Zenitsu is an elite, high-ranking demon, while Kaigaku is nothing special. Zenitsu kills and consumes him in like the very first moments Infinity Castle begins. Kaigaku even begs him to spare him, maybe even turn him into a demon as well. But well, Zenitsu does not wish to spare him. He eats him and even laughs while doing so. Then, Zenitsu starts searching for Tanjiro. As we explained earlier in our video, he wants to consume him as well. He finds him fighting Akaza alongside Giyu. So what does he do? He joins Akaza, even though Akaza does not like others joining in his fights. Zenitsu does it 2v2, or rather isolates Tanjiro for a 1v1. Even though Akaza is pissed that Zenitsu jumped in his fight, he goes ahead and attacks Giyu, who's right in front of him now. Giyu versus Akaza, Giyu stands no chance alone, even if he awakens his mark during the fight, and as a result, dies. Now let's see what happens on the Tanjiro versus Zenitsu fight. Tanjiro tries to wake up Zenitsu, similar to how his friends were trying to wake him up when he became a demon, but Zenitsu is long gone by now. The fight begins, and let's just say things are not looking good for Tanjiro. Do not forget, Zenitsu is around the same level as Akaza at this point. When combining how overpowered Zenitsu is now, along with the fact that Tanjiro hesitates to fight Zenitsu, well, things are more than difficult. Tanjiro is now facing an opponent who is not only as fast as lightning, but also immortal in the way the Upper Moons are. Tanjiro's Hinokami Kagura at that point was strong enough to keep up with Akaza, who could anticipate most attacks and adapt mid-battle, but Zenitsu's new form would be a different beast. Tanjiro's edge has always been his ability to read his opponent's moves and adapt through sheer will. But here, Zenitsu's movements are so fast and instinctive that there's barely anything to read. If Tanjiro manages to land a direct sun-breathing strike on Zenitsu's neck, there's a chance. But closing that distance and timing the strike would be borderline impossible when Zenitsu is moving that fast. And unlike human Zenitsu, this version does not hesitate, doesn't tremble, and doesn't waste time. So Tanjiro ends up killed. Next up, we need to talk about the Kokushibo versus Sanemi, Gyomei, and Genya fight. Well, things here are exactly the same as the original timeline. Kokushibo is defeated, Genya dies, while Gyomei and Sanemi awaken their marks. So yeah, nothing changes here. But on to the Doma versus Shinobu, Hanao, and Inosuke front now. Some things do change. Why? Why? Because as soon as Zenitsu is done with his fight against Tanjiro, he starts searching for Inosuke next. Here, the fight against Doma starts reaching its climax, but Zenitsu joins in before Doma is defeated. Zenitsu isolates Inosuke and starts fighting him. This leaves Kanao on a 1v1 with Doma. Here, Doma is severely injured, on the verge of death actually, and Kanao does everything in her power and manages to finish off Doma, but not before being severely injured herself, to the point where recovery is no longer possible. Before the Zenitsu versus Inosuke concludes, Kanao passes away. But how will the Inosuke versus Zenitsu fight look? Inosuke's entire fighting style is raw unpredictability. His beast breathing and hyper-sharp senses were designed to throw off even demons who rely on predictive counterattacks. Against normal upper moons, this works, but against Zenitsu, in this monstrous state, Inosuke isn't reading anything. That's just how fast Zenitsu is. Inosuke might actually hold out longer than Tanjiro in the early clash, purely due to his animal reflexes and strange angles that could throw Zenitsu's attacks off for a moment. He'd score slashes, dodge death by a hair, twist his body unnaturally to avoid beheading. But here's the problem. Zenitsu's speed isn't just speed anymore. It's like trying to fight a lightning bolt that keeps regenerating. And naturally, this means that Zenitsu once again wins, and Inosuke dies. And hear me out. For anyone ready to say that I'm plotting heavily in favor of the demons, well, not quite, as I still didn't even mention what Hantengu would be doing. Quite honestly, if he were to stretch the Demon Slayer forces even further, I would guess he maybe occupies Sanemi and Genya, thus leaving Kokushibo alone with Gyomei, which, in that case, Gyomei dies without Kokushibo being defeated. But then things are even more in favor of the demons, so yeah, things are even worse when we put Hantengu aiding Kokushibo. Instead, we'll assume that Hantengu rather helps Nakime fight against Obanai and Mitsuri, rather than being 2v1. Here, one of them is put somewhere close to Hantengu, and, well, no matter who that is, Hantengu can easily kill him or her. As a result, Nakime is also able to kill her opponent, no matter if it's Obanai or Mitsuri. What does this mean in the bigger picture? Well, a bunch of Demon Slayers end up dead, while more Upper Moons are alive. So the result? In the final battle, these extra demons join Muzan. All the while, less Hashiras are present to fight Muzan and his demons. And as you can understand, the Demon Slayers stand no chance here. They all die, and Muzan wins this battle. But what about his ultimate goal? Does he manage to find and consume Nezuko? Well, it depends. There are two scenarios here. In the first scenario, Muzan escapes for now, as let's not forget, he's still poisoned by Tamayo all the same in this alternate version of Demon Slayer. It's only a matter of time before he regains his strength and returns to hunt Nezuko. But then again, if he does that in a few days, it might just be too late, as Nezuko is now in the process of being turned back into a human. If that happens, I'm not so sure if the immortality thing still works or not. To be honest, it probably will, as the reason Nezuko was immune to begin with is probably because of the blue spider lily soup her mom used to make the entire family eat while she was alive. And she was eating this soup while still a human, meaning one substance from the flower remained in her system from the day she was a human. So no reason this will change when she's turned back into a human, meaning when Muzan eats her, he acquires the substance needed to conquer the sun. Or there's our second case scenario, where Muzan just straight up goes after Nezuko, no time wasting. To be honest, this is probably the most likely scenario to go with. Muzan goes after Nezuko, he finds her, and eats her, no matter if she's a human or a demon. Muzan has now just conquered the sun. He eradicates the Demon Slayer core completely, leaving no one behind. Here, the only thing left to analyze is what rank Zenitsu will have after the final battle. You see, Kokushibo and Doma are both gone, and the same applies for Gyoko and Gyutaro from previous battles. The upper moons remaining are Akaza, Hantengu, Nakime, and Zenitsu. My guess? Zenitsu would be upper moon 1, as when compared to Hantengu and Nakime, Zenitsu is stronger. Now, for Akaza versus Zenitsu, there's a bit of a debate to be made here. My guess is that either Zenitsu is already stronger than Akaza, or as time passes, he eventually overpowers Akaza after eating multiple humans in the years to come. Don't forget, Zenitsu has only been turned into a demon a few months ago, and he's already on the same level as Akaza. Give him a few years, he's surely gonna become stronger than him. And thus, Zenitsu is now the new Upper Moon 1. And well, if you think this alternate timeline is sad, just hear me out. Click on this video next, where I'm explaining what would happen if Doma turned Inosuke into a demon. Go on, check it out!